That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet.
When you could not prove anyone right or wrong, all the expertise was contained in the people involved in the conversation.
We hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, "That don't sound right," send us a comment. You're one of us. The world of flashlights, I think, has gotten out of hand.
Flashlights? Where did
Yes.
this come from, Cecil? Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right, a podcast about talking. We're your co-hosts. I'm Peter Billen.
I'm Cecil Davis.
And we're trying to have a conversation without Googling or fact-checking things online. That can so easily kill the conversation.
You did use AI this week, though, to find out how we can get our show on National Public Radio, right?
I did. I wanted to see, because one of our listeners, Kelly, he pointed out that our local public radio station, WFDD, has a theme this year. It's called Carolina Curious.
Yeah, they are. And I think they interview people around the state that are doing things. They should interview us.
Well, I think we should be part of their programming is what I think, right? Because we're the original Keep Talking, Stay Curious.
Yes. They actually came up with something that had a very similar slogan to ours one time.
So Kelly said the slogan is "Stay Curious."
Oh, is it?
It is "Stay Curious." Yeah.
Well, they haven't been doing it for 4 years, so
I think we
preceded them.
Hey, look, my opinion is let them have their run for this year. Okay, but when the year is up and they have to change their theme, they can change their theme. But we can be the spinoff. It's my thinking that public radio is always in need of funding.
Right.
And what better way to counter the need of funding is just to give them free content.
And we've got some free content.
And so we can fill a 30-minute time slot in their programming.
Absolutely.
Every week.
And we could do it for 3 years right now. They could just take our past episodes and load them up.
Right. That's right.
We could actually take our past episodes and just redo them on radio.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's why we would do that.
All right, well, this is kind of a conglomeration of some past issues that we've talked about, but it's come up again this week.
All right.
And I want to see what you think about it. We've talked about the extremification of everything.
Yeah.
You know, in other words,
extreme sports.
Right.
So, everything is leveled up. I mean, if you just want to go out for a bike ride, you got to have clip-in shoes.
Right.
You got to have in the biking shorts. You have to have the jersey.
The helmet.
Just to go for a bike ride. Even like stalwarts of the outdoors, like Outside Magazine, it's not just the backpacking anymore. It's like extreme backpacking in the Patagonia region of, it can't just be a walk in the woods anymore. Right. Everything's been made extreme. Or if you want, you have to make it extreme. If you're just going to take a walk in the woods, you have to do it with almost no gear and barefoot. Right? You got to do something. You got to take it to the next level.
And I've even fallen prey to it with the Country Mile. I mean, we're suiting up for the Country Mile here in a few weeks.
So when does that occur?
It's in April.
And tell our listeners.
It's a 100-mile race.
Some of our new listeners, what is the Country Mile?
The Country Mile is a 100-mile race. And again, you start off with short races and then eventually your ultra marathons and so this is a 100-mile race. In that vein, the world of flashlights, I think, has gotten out of hand.
Flashlights? Where did this come from, Cecil?
Well, I just saw a flashlight again this week, and I've seen this for years now. You can't just have a good old Rayovac silver flashlight anymore that's using 2 D cells and giving off a pitiful amount of light.
Right, and usually it only works 50% of the time.
And you're banging it against something the other 50% of the time, trying to make it work.
Right.
Now that's a flashlight.
That's the one you grew up with.
That's the one I grew up with. That's the one you grew up with.
That's right.
And then
that's the one that I don't need flashlights anymore.
Why? Because of that?
Yeah. I mean, I felt like I always had flashlights. I had all kinds of flashlights.
I did too.
And these days, I can think of maybe one I have left.
I still keep a flashlight.
And I don't even use it.
I keep a flashlight.
I got a flashlight. It's one of those Maglite
3D cells that you could use as a billy club, and I converted it over to an LED light.
Did you?
Yeah. So the batteries.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, the mag light.
Yeah.
Because the mag light in my lifetime was when I remember flashlights. That was the first move away from the good old flashlight of our youth.
The plastic one.
Or even the metal ones, like the Rayovacs, the silver.
Yeah.
I still have my granddaddy's silver, like Rayovac flashlight.
Do you remember the flashlight before that? The kind of the classic. No. It was the one that used the big 6-volt.
Oh yeah, the square battery. Yeah,
had a big old handle.
Yes. Yeah.
6-inch reflector.
Yeah.
You turned it on.
Right.
And after about 7 minutes, it died.
The battery ran down.
Dead. And then you're looking all over the town for another 6-volt
battery.
Square battery.
So there's this shift that started with the mag light.
Yeah.
And like everybody started getting the mag. They were expensive when they came out. They were made out of
aircraft aluminum. Should I go get mine?
But and so everybody, that was the big shift away, and they were bright.
Oh yeah,
and you could focus the light.
Yeah,
that was great.
They're waterproof.
At that they were waterproof. You can make a candle out of them. If you remember that, you could turn the base over and make it like an illuminated tent.
And they had all kinds of different sizes.
They did. They had different lenses.
Right,
you could put in them. That was as far as we needed to go with flashlight technology.
That was the pinnacle to you.
Well, no, I'm just that was pinnacle. All that we needed.
Right,
but. Some of the flashlights I've seen now, they're like 8,000, they put off the same amount of light as an aircraft
landing
lights put off. Like you could, they had put off this blinding amount of light.
I think you said you could see the moon.
Yeah, you can pop it, you can reflect it off the moon sort of stuff. And they're compact, they're ultralight. I mean, they're these ultra lights, not ultralight. I'm just not sure we need to continue to evolve that.
Well, they are small too. I mean, they're
super small.
They can fit in the palm of your hand.
Now, I will say that those super bright lights are really nice when you're working on a car.
Yeah.
And you're trying to illuminate an area. Because the old Rayovacs...
Unless you take a peek at it, then you're blind.
Right. Yeah, if you don't look directly into it. But the old Rayovacs were hard because you were trying to balance those on something.
Right.
You're trying to get somebody to hold it. And that was always a precarious job. If you were the one holding the flashlight, there was all kinds of things being said to you, like about you were not holding it where it needed to be held. But a really bright LED will light up some space in an engine compartment.
Sure.
So that is one.
Put that on a headlamp, and now you have it wherever you look.
Headlamps. That was the next iteration, right? Is that everybody got all these real fancy headlamps and blinded each other on backpacking trips because you had them on your.
Hey, Cecil.
Yeah,
right,
just look right at you and blind you with it. Did we? I'm not sure we even needed that. But again, it's handy to have a headlamp. And now they've got them. Have you seen the ones that are fit like glasses?
No.
And they're LEDs, so the light is directed exactly where you're looking?
No. Are they like part of a frame, an eyeglass frame?
Yeah,
okay.
So you can look exactly where, again, that's a great innovation. I'm not sure that we need that level of light. Flashlights have become extreme.
I've seen the light that snaps onto, or it's built in, the LED built into your hat brim.
Yes.
Maybe that's what our next iteration of that don't sound right hat merchandise needs to be.
I got one, and it's a really bright light that snaps onto your brim, and if you wave your hand in front of it, it will cut off.
That's perfect.
It's not, because every time I move my head under the car, working on it, it cuts off. So I'm constantly cutting it back on, cutting it off, or it'll come back on and then.
Yeah, I guess a motion activated light on the head that moves all around is probably not a good idea.
Yeah, right. So I'm all for everything up to the mag light, but beyond that, we have really kind of. It's just like with headlights. We talked about that on the show
cars,
too.
Car headlights, they've gotten too bright.
They've gotten too bright. Flashlights, we've gone past where we needed to go. We have our reach has exceeded our grasp on this.
Now, how many of these bright lights have you really seen in the wild?
I've only seen a handful of them. Because I think people buy them and they just stick them in a drawer and never use them.
Exactly.
Nobody ever knows where I know where my flashlights are.
I know where mine are.
Right. But nobody else in the world besides the
I know where my one flashlight is. Because the issue with flashlights is that, and this happened to my Maglites makes me sad. If you don't use them, the batteries leak, they swell, and then you're not getting those batteries out of a Maglite. Once they fuse themselves to the aircraft aluminum, they're not. You're throwing the Maglite away.
Yeah.
And so I got sick of throwing batteries and flashlights away. So now I just keep the one.
I've got one really good one.
Yeah.
that I keep where I know, and then I have a box of lesser ones.
The little handheld clickers with the
little
LEDs.
handheld clickers, yeah. And then I have my old trusty Rayovac too.
And you got the Rayovac.
Yeah, I've got. So I keep a good flashlight, but I can't. I do have one extreme flashlight.
So I will say that I understand your concern with the propagation of over bright flashlights. This falls in line with a theme that you have, that we're over iced, we're over watered, and now, Cecil, you were saying we are overlit.
Yeah, like, so I'll tell you two stories. One story's been on here before when we were going back to the country mile.
So just for everyone, there's an episode about ice where Cecil says we have way too much ice, and then we have another episode. Don't we have an episode where we're drinking too much water?
Did we do that? I can't remember if we did that.
Yeah, but we're definitely over iced, over watered, and now we're overlit. But you're on the country mile.
So we talked a little bit about this. Those of us me and my brother, my cousins, we would walk at night on the country mile without flashlights.
Oh yeah. So explain this race.
The country mile race.
Because I think of a race, you should be running.
Well, that's true. So you're trying to do 100 miles in 48 hours.
That's why you're not.
And so
running.
whether you're
100
running,
miles is a long way.
Running, walking, crawling, however you can do it, without being motorized. But at some point, you're walking in the dark, and we would walk without flashlights. And other groups would be like, "What are you guys doing?" But none of us used flashlights because we grew up not using flashlights.
Right.
My dad used to work with organizations like Boy Scouts, but it was with the Baptist Church. And his thing that he would do on camp out is a night hike where you didn't use flashlights.
Fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The kids always looked forward to that. That's how I grew up, walking in the woods without a flashlight.
Yeah, yeah.
And now we have all these, if you go out on a walk like that, and these people have these super bright lights, it just floods the...
When you go for a walk around your neighborhood, do you have a flashlight?
No.
Yeah. Do you see people with flashlights?
Absolutely.
Oh, do you?
Oh, there's people that have those like neon vests that have like lights.
Oh, well, that's so that people can see them.
Yes.
But I'm thinking
are
they walking around with lights so they can see the bare road in front of them?
Yes. Okay. I've seen people walking with flashlights.
Okay. And you look at them and you shake your head.
I don't judge them. I'm just not one of them. And I just don't like, we've just gone too far with flashlight technology. We can stop.
How about have you noticed the street lights lately around here? Those LED street lights?
We have new street lights in our area too. The first group of them were purple or something.
Yeah,
the color was off.
Well, they had an early failure and they changed color to like this bluish tint.
The LED light that's on our street right now is so bright that we have to actively try to block it out at night. It's not a gentle glow of a street lamp. It is like a landing light.
Right. Well, I mean, one of the things about the LED lights on our street is they're the light is contained to the street.
Mm.
Like, I mean, it sounds like yours has an aiming issue, but ours are contained to the street, that it's just really lighting up the street, not the rest of our yard, which I kind of like.
If it was only on the street, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Here's another thing I'm having trouble with lights these days is the propagation of colors.
What do you mean?
So color of light is measured in Kelvin. And so you can buy soft light, daylight, bright light, and those are all measured in Kelvin. It's usually it's a 2300, a 3000, a 4000, a 5000, and 6000. And the 6000 is that really bluish tint.
Kelvin or lumen?
It's Kelvin. This is the color. I'm sorry, you're right. It's not the brightness, it's the color.
Okay.
Lumen is brightness, Kelvin is color.
Gotcha.
And so when you see a bluish kind of LED light, that's getting into the 5,000 and 6,000 Kelvin range. But it is maddening to me now that I can look in my room and all the lights are different colors.
Yes.
I used to just buy a light bulb.
Right.
And it was going to be a kind of a yellowish glow. Now I have to figure out, well, do I want a daylight or do I want a sunlight or do I want
It is difficult to buy a light bulb.
So I would just take this a step further, that we are over-colorized, our whole lighting industry, that you don't know what you're going to get. In fact, I have this problem with The headlights on my daughter's car, I bought the wrong headlight and now they don't match. One's slightly different color.
Yep.
I'm like, come on, man, just make them all the same color.
We're starting to sound like curmudgeonly old guys on the podcast now because we're.
Wait, this is Don't Sound Right, right? Yeah.
Right.
So it don't sound right that we have 5 different colors for a light bulb.
The lighting now has gotten very complicated. If you go look at the lighting.
It is. It's gotten very complicated.
It's gotten overly complicated.
I think the brightness of handheld flashlights are the least of our problems right now. I think it's the propagation of different colors of bulbs just for my lamp.
I'm just saying that just with the flashlight, I'll just bring this to an end. The flashlight piece. And we talk about bulbs is there's we do not need to put any further research into flashlights.
Well,
flashlights are as good as they can get.
Who do you think's doing this?
It's just a marketing thing. It's just like pocket knives.
It's the military, man.
Oh, it'd make a better flashlight?
Yeah.
You think?
Oh, haven't you seen the commercial?
Oh, yeah, I have seen the commercial.
You've seen the commercial. This is for the X2000 tactical personal lighting system.
You do not need a tactical light at all.
This is military grade.
Yeah, it's military grade.
It has 80,000 lumens. It can light up your backyard and your neighbor's backyard.
Yes, you don't need that.
You'll be safer this way.
You will be very safe if you have that flashlight. You do not need that flashlight. You can stop with flashlight technology. We're good.
So one of the great things about YouTube and the YouTube app is that it's easy to make playlists.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to add this particular episode to we are an over whatever you want to call it. We're over.
Well, to go to your light bulb thing.
Yeah.
And the thing I hate to get behind right now is I don't like the headlights that are LED.
Yeah.
But now every city vehicle has a blinking LED light on it.
Tell me about this.
Just like a garbage truck or any service kind of truck that has these blinking LED lights. They'll either be yellow or clear white.
Okay.
And they are so bright and blinking. It's like looking at a strobe light.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
And especially if it's like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, those things, you get behind that, it's going off. Even on school buses sometimes.
School buses have them. I know when the ambulances, the backs of just the brake lights of ambulances can burn your retinas.
Yes. It's just gotten, again, we've gone like a bridge too far with our light technology. You just need to back it up just a little bit. I can get LED headlights for the 61 Ranchero.
Yeah, I know you can, and I wouldn't do it.
I would absolutely not do it. It would be terrible. But you can get LED lights for these old cars.
I mean, don't get me wrong. My car has LED headlights, and I love that bright. So it's probably running about 5,000 Kelvin. It's a really bright white light. And I've gotten into one of my older cars that's probably running a 3,000 Kelvin. That's the yellowish light. And man, I can tell such a difference in the clarity of what I can and can't see.
Really?
It's so much easier on my eyes. The driving the wider light, not headlong into someone else's bright lights.
I did get LED lights for my interior lights on your recommendation.
Yes.
Now that did make a difference.
Didn't that make a difference?
Yeah.
So, and you probably, that's a 5,000 color light.
Yeah. That was a big difference.
Yeah. That was that. Yeah. There's some applications for it.
There are some applications, but we can stop with the flashlights.
Let's stop with the flashlights. Let's keep our 3,000 color, 3,000K interior lights and just be done with it.
Now, the one thing I do think is great about LED lights.
Yeah.
We were demonstrating this earlier here in the studio, is before, if you wanted a really bright light, you got the halogen light.
Right.
It was like a little frame, a little housing around it, and it put out about 10,000 degrees of heat.
Yeah, I mean,
it would burn you.
Bugs you'd evaporate as they flew by it, and you would get sunburned if you had it too close to you.
So when you're out working on your car with one of these things, you had to be very careful that you didn't, if you were laying under the car, that you didn't bump your leg against the
you would get a
halogen
burn.
light. You get a burn. You didn't want it near any volatile sprays, oils, gasoline. And so they have become a lot safer when you don't have to use those super hot halogen lights.
The other thing I appreciate about the LED lights is they use so much less power.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the mag light. So I converted my mag light over to an LED bulb.
And you've only probably bought one.
Oh, yeah. I've never had to replace the bulb. And the other thing is the batteries last so much longer because the draw on the batteries is so. Usually the battery leaks and destroys the the flashlight before the batteries ever die.
Do you still have one of the halogen lights, one of the hot halogen lights?
No, my last one just died, and that's why I bought this new LED one.
Yeah, I've still got one that's still moving along.
No, I just kept on going through these bulbs.
Yeah, the bulbs go through, but they were bright, and they did have one added side effect that was nice. If you're working on your car on a cold night,
oh yeah,
it would keep you at least a little warm.
Oh yeah, it would warm up my garage.
Oh, yeah.
I'd crank it on. I'd turn the light on about 10 minutes before I was going to get 15 minutes before I go in there, just to kind of get the chill off the air.
Good. All right, so I've gotten my complaints out now about flashlights.
Well, this has been the airing of grievances episode. We can add that to our overwatered, over-iced, and now overlit society.
We need to stop, man, with some of this stuff. We don't need it. We can just stop with certain. There's certain things we just say we've gone far enough with. All right, that don't sound right. Okay, it didn't sound right, but I think we have come to the end of that don't sound right.
Hey, before we close, we want to thank everyone for listening. If this is your first time and enjoyed the conversation, would you consider hitting the subscribe button on the platform you listen with? Also, if you're that long-time listener, give us a rating, leave us a review so others can easily find us and join the conversation.
All right, That Don't Sound Right is a production of TSR Podcasts in conjunction with Campbell City Studios. I am your co-host and sound engineer. Peter is your other host and web designer. And please go take a look at the website and check us out on YouTube Podcast now. There's some good artwork on there. Camilla's our barista. Emily does our graphic design. Ella does our Instagram. Georgia tests our merchandise. Brent is our international brand ambassador. And as always, listener number one is Scott. So until next week, keep talking.
And stay curious.